Hello, Divine Souls. Welcome back. I hope you guys are safe and doing well. So in today's reading, we're going to take a look at your Divine Masculine's childhood trauma. Or should I say childhood traumas? Ooh, that one wanted to fly out. Single parent came out. So for some of you, your Divine Masculine grew up in a single family household. And 9 times out of 10, they're living with their mom. So this was a very traumatic time for your Divine Masculine because he didn't have a father figure to look up to. He didn't have a positive role model in his life. He didn't have someone to show him the ropes. And so that's why his romantic relationships have always been toxic and very challenging. Today we're going to be using my deck. This is my brand new deck, Childhood Trauma Oracle. This deck can be found on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description box below. Let's get a few more. What were the Divine Masculine's childhood trauma? Addiction. So they saw some form of addiction growing up. It could have been with their mother. It could have been with their father. It could have been with both. It could have been drinking, gambling, womanizing. And for some of you, it was hardcore drugs. This little boy saw a lot growing up. And your Divine Masculine started exploring these addictions at a very young age. You also have religion. On here, it also says atheism. So I'm seeing this two ways. For some of you, your Divine Masculine grew up in a strict household when it came to religion, as far as going to church every Sunday, going to church every Wednesday. For some of you, it's Saturdays. But your Divine Masculine was always in church. That was something his mom didn't play about. But there was some kind of disconnect between your Divine Masculine and church. That's why when it comes to religion and your relationship with your Divine Masculine, it was very turbulent. So when your Divine Masculine grew up, for some of you, he became an atheist. Or if he wasn't an atheist, he didn't go to church like he used to. Because I feel like for some of you, this religion was forced. And being that he grew up in a toxic household, your Divine Masculine feels like God was never around. God wasn't there for him. Because his house was always unstable. They were always moving. For some of you, they were living with family and friends. And he just felt like he was dealt a bad hand. You had a card that fell. The card that fell was mother wounds. So like I was saying, he grew up in a very strict household for some of you. And to be fair, the reason why his mom was strict was because his father wasn't around. But on the flip side, they didn't get along due to addictions. Or another thing that I'm getting is that his mother could have been a workaholic. And he had siblings that he had to take care of. He had to grow up at an early age. And your Divine Masculine just felt like everything was on his shoulders. But for some of you, he didn't have a good relationship with his mother. Physical abuse. And this could also be why. My notifications just went off, so that was clarification. There it goes again. This physical abuse could have been by someone else, not necessarily a parent, but there was some kind of physical abuse that took place. Constantly sharing belongings, wearing hand-me-downs or knockoffs. So for some of you, your Divine Masculine came from a big family, and he always had to share everything. He rarely ever got anything new. Everything was either a hand-me-down or a knockoff. And that's why your Divine Masculine comes off as being materialistic, because when he was growing up, he barely had anything. And he always had to share. And let's get one more card. Look at this. Taking care of siblings on a regular basis. Thank you, Spirit. He was the man of the house. And this was a burden. That's why he turned to addiction. And on the bottom of the deck, it says, being ignored or dismissed when expressing emotions. And that was another thing that he couldn't do. He couldn't cry. His mom or his dad would be like, man up. He couldn't show his true feelings. He couldn't show his emotions. And that's why he comes off detached in these connections. So let's see how Divine Masculine's upbringing and his childhood traumas played a factor in your connection. Intimacy. Your divine masculine has a hard time bonding because he wasn't able to express his emotions growing up. That's why he comes off cold and detached with you. Yeah, he was often distracted. On here, it says delays and sidetracked. And it's because he's always thinking about his childhood. That's why you always have nostalgia coming out in the readings. Your divine masculine tries to block everything that has happened to him instead of trying to heal. That's why he comes off as being emotionally unavailable. Pain. He still has pain from his childhood. And the reason why your divine masculine has not gotten help for some of you is because of what was said to him when he was a child. And that was for him to man up. So right now it's a pride thing. But he's still in pain. Rejection. He didn't feel loved. You have abandoned on here. Yeah, he felt like he was dismissed. Wow, you have dismissed out here twice. Ignored or dismissed. Abandoned and dismissed. Thank you, Spirit. Memories. What did I tell you guys? He's always having nostalgia about his childhood. Reminiscing, dwelling, and bittersweet. Look at this. Family came out. There wasn't any love. For some of you, the reason why his childhood was so toxic is because he had young parents. You have silence. He lives in his mind, and that's his safe space. So when your divine masculine pulls back, usually it's not anything that you have done, divine feminines. He's just going through a lot. Silence felt under pain. But he also wants you to know that it's only you. But the problem is he doesn't know how to show love. That's why he comes off as being shallow. Due to his pride. Your divine masculine usually has cloudy judgment. Because like I said, he didn't have a role model. So he fell for the okie dokes. He fell for the illusions. And pretty much that's how he had to learn. Karma. Consequences for his actions. That's why he stays on these karmic cycles, because he refuses to heal. And he's rejecting God. Exactly. That's why there's always conflict in your connection. And for most of you, it's due to religion and spirituality. Differences. And let's get one more out of here. Wow. Soulmates. Only you. Your divine masculine feels a deep connection to you. That's why he's still clinging to the relationship. But he also knows that in order for this connection to work, he has to heal his pain. All right, so let's wrap up with some Expose the Naked Truth Oracle. This is my deck. It can be found on my Etsy shop. The link is in the description box below. Right when I cut the deck, you guys, it says, truth is, I'm in love with you. He may be in love with you, but he has a hard time expressing his feelings. There is someone from my past that I didn't fully let go of. I should have told you the truth, but I didn't think I would fall this hard for you. That's why you had the karma card that came out. Because all he deals with is karmics. And this person from his past is very toxic. On this karma card, it says debts. He has karmic debts that he has to pay before you guys can be together. That's why he has cloudy judgment. So this just summed up exactly what I just said. I'm at a crossroads between you and someone else. I know I need to let go of my toxic past, but we have a lot of history. He has a lot of history with this karmic. He could have also had a family with this karmic, but that connection is very painful. This karmic is a karmic soulmate. And that's why you guys have issues, because he refuses to let go. And the reason why your divine masculine keeps going back and forth to these karmics is because he fears rejection. So he feels like if you ever leave, the karmic is always going to be there. Look at this. I love variety, but there is something about you I just can't resist. You are going to make me change my player ways. So he was definitely a player, but he also knows that your connection is divine. Addictions clouded my vision. I'm seeing things clearly now. I'm getting my life together. Your second card was addiction. Thank you, Spirit. This isn't over. You haven't heard the last of me. We have unfinished business. I miss your voice, your laugh, your humor, your text, your touch. I'm in my feelings today. That's why the memories card came out. Your divine masculine is missing you. And let's get one final message. I was in denial about us because I wasn't on your level, which made me feel very insecure. That's why I ran. Your divine masculine was never on your level. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he has never healed his childhood wounds. You had a lot to offer. You showed and gave him unconditional love. You bent over backwards, but nothing was ever good enough. And that's why you had to bounce. So that way he could deal with his karma. And your divine masculine was jealous of your success. Bottom of the deck. The pain from a previous relationship played a major role in our breakup. So this is the third card coming out on previous relationships. And it was due to what your divine masculine saw growing up. He saw a lot of womanizing. He saw a lot of cheating. But at the end of the day, he now knows that the grass wasn't greener and he's feeling like a fool. So these are some of the childhood traumas that your divine masculine experienced growing up. And that's why it was so hard for him to open up romantically. All right, you guys, these are your messages for this reading. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so when I upload new content, you'll be notified. Have an awesome day. Love and lights always.